Yes, sorry, and you better say the appeals court in Ghana. Judge for me and San Attoney eti ato Forson. Ene eye japa appeal omde ba say asema ato eye Attorney General Governor ejina so epese odi bua omofo no asem ne ninjina so. Na emom Governor pese odi koti kwan bi so ene buga etata omo echi omkoto efiase efri se na adwini mu no omo ye NDC for enna wase di boni bia opese okata so. Omo di asem ko duru appeals court no. Enna judge for no tena se omo ye miensa na omo say omo hwa asem ne efri asem ne tifi akosi asem na afo. Omo hu say Attorney General Governor ensheda eningina so. The Attorney General does not really have a case, and that when they looked at the case from the beginning to where it is now, the evidence the accused have provided in court to support their case, they have also looked at the Attorney General's cases and prosecution cases, the amount and number of evidence he has provided as the state attorney. They came to that conclusion that the Attorney General does not have a solid case to prosecute, and that these men, Jakpa and Forson, are supposed to walk free men, because the laws of the land says that we cannot bend the law. We cannot put people in jail when we don't have enough evidence beyond reasonable doubts to jail them. So the court itself, in its own wisdom, came to that conclusion, and in their final statement, they made it clear that this case that even came before them as the appeals court, the case wasn't even supposed to travel that far to the appeals court. Meaning, they were saying that the High Court judge, Madam Asantua, was supposed to stop this case. She has entertained the Attorney General's corrupt acts in court. She had opened a gap for the Attorney General to be putting in a lot of unfounded allegations against innocent men, honorable men. So in their final judgment, when you read their judgment, they were trying to say they are surprised that the High Court judge has allowed the Attorney General to misconduct himself, delayed and wasted the resources of the Republic of Ghana. They were expecting Judge Efua Asantua to end the case. This is straightforward assessment of everything. Now, about 2-3 days ago, I was here, and an American catcher will say, "Sa Jakpa case where I could pay the appeals court." No, the case now does not even look like an ambulance case. The case itself is basically moving away from the so-called causing financial loss to the state into something called character assassination. The Attorney General, because he does not have enough evidence to prosecute Forson and Jakpa, now has resorted to maligning accused people, trying to taint their character. The relevant case itself, which he has to prove beyond reasonable doubt that Forson and Jakpa the Attorney General Governor, he's moved away from that. Now he's looking at destroying the character of the accused. I don't care about the character of the accused. What I want you to prove to me is that the accused actually caused financial loss to the state. That is the bottom line. It is the appeals court for judgment now. When you listen or read very well to the judgment from the appeals court today, it says the trial judge, Justice Ifya Sewa, was wrong to ask Forson to open his defense to prove that he had authorization to write those letters to Big C. And the appeals court for ruling, say, say justice ana judge Ifya Sewa etumi den eka kire Forson say omumbie defense na defense no mumbie ne say onkyere say eye letter na o sign ye no eye the boss eye de se tekpe ene man no eye tumi no abra se tekpe so abetena court aka kire wo judge say eye me ena me man tumi intina appeals court ka say e die pa na judge say wa e pay free ato Forson wa all catching say on providing more evidence because nipa na o man no eye instructions no e ba court eye se tekpe e ka kire eye court say me and me man instructions no appeals court for no air truck for say the burden of proof that Forson had no authorization to write those letters was on the prosecution to prove. In appeals court for no catch final judgment in say anya bia Forson there or say the boss said tekwe and the man instructions man sign sa letter of credit no into the omukra no say it is on the Attorney General mom na also approve say in fact Forson and yes se tekpe and a man no to me say on sign because Forson otini baby and Attorney General catch and say what sign carta I no say carta na me boss na mama instructions me boss so abeka court to say yes or na mama instructions no enti Attorney General mom and as soon as that so say I was what say the Forson ka and said tekpe ka no tro inti adenti krampo na judge no ATS assembly in the first place na nkeni say judge no krampo ma asem no every baby e wono abedru ha ma catch them for almost a month. Me say the problem in this case is the judge. It's not the Attorney General because the Attorney General is operating on the judge's their softness. Because the judge is giving the Attorney General the room to fool, that is why Ghanacelebrities is fooling. Because if the judge had been rigid and stuck to the principles and questioned the Attorney General, the case wouldn't have traveled this far. And today, me catch them say this ambulance case here, they be Attorney General Ghanacelebrities Jakwano, the judge is the problem. For the judge to even say. Forson should open defense and Jakwano, it showed clearly say the judge wanted to frustrate the accused. Even her own colleagues in the appeals court, they in their final submission or in their judgment, they made it clear say judge say wa and the problem in this case. Brofo. Yen nyina ya kan yen nyina ya hu the onwani colleagues eka. So why should anybody blame Kevin Tailor for saying say Judge Sewa has been the problem from day one? Because if she had basically asked the right questions, Ghanacelebrities wouldn't have fooled himself to this point. But the judge gave Ghanacelebrities a lot of room to misbehave and fool himself. Even at a point where Ghanacelebrities decides not to even question the accused, but write questions to give to his subordinate to answer, to question the accused. It is one of the most careless things we have seen in our courts or in any court in the Republic of Ghana. The Attorney General does not question the accused. He sits in court and writes questions for somebody to question the accused because the Attorney General knows when he faces the accused on those questions, the accused will accuse him because the accused have already made it clear with evidence that the Attorney General is a criminal who discusses cases outside court. When you read the judgment from the appeals court today, these are some of the things they said. If anyone was culpable, it ought to be those in charge of Ministry of Health and not Deputy Minister for Finance, who from the evidence officially performed his duty. Appeals court of one say, adikudienti omugina so akasa Forson in Kofi ni Jakpam Kofi ni say ye pe obi kra so mo pa asan we mu nyina no eye the Ministry of Health na enye minister na ye man instructions say onye den onumom inside den the document no into see senka ye pe obi kra so mo pa e wasem mu a Ministry of Health na enye the minister or the deputy minister for finance, because a ministry no and any big C assign a contract. The minister was just performing his duty. How can you as an attorney general come and say sign contract, no? You don't have a problem with them. And those who basically were doing their jobs by signing documents for people to be paid, they have caused financial loss. The ministry itself, the Ministry of Health, had somebody who sat with a big C to sign the contract. The contract was between the Ministry of Health and the big C company. So why are we going after the deputy finance minister who took instructions from his boss to sign a letter of credit? The appeals court went on to say this: the positive facts from the prosecutor in this case are lacking, leaving mere conjecture and speculations. Almost say Attorney General no the all your court ni nyina no appeals court no ehunu say eye huridi hurada ni asemia gina so de yeri nyina ne say bo mu sirem speculations say Attorney General no oni engina so on sheda ni asempoti bi a ogina so etwa ho ede atia Attorney ato Forson ene jakpa. Inti majority of the time no the Attorney General Godfrey court ni nyina bosire muka yeka say speculations and conjecture o kekan sem sieni na wabonisirem ede amagana for dwen say asema ngina so we appeals court for asema omoka mi dwudwam sanya be ya obehu de course or court de Madam Sewa onwani colleagues chrofa onwana dia oye wona high court ho almost bosire muka ene ensem kwa wakeke sieni na Attorney General ne hyeda ni asem papa bia ogina so edidi asem no appeals court for asem a omochura ye say yen kan no into omankasa no uti omasem na obo de tofa omo person ka kire Ghana for say Attorney General Godfrey Dame ni case na emom judge say wa na asoso Godfrey Dame so emani jimi no ho. These are judges. I don't know them. They are colleagues to Madam Sewa. They are trying to explain the reason why Omuhuni say it was Ato Forson Kofi and Jakpaso Ekofie.